Hello and welcome to Basspick Reviews, and in today's episode I'll be doing my final thoughts on CastAway. And in all honesty, I don't have final thoughts per se about the movie itself. I do have final thoughts about survival movies, and in all honesty I'm going to link this with CastAway because it is a survival movie, but you could apply this to any kind of other survival movie. I personally get more terrified of survivor movies than I do horror movies, purely because this stuff can actually happen and more than likely does happen to people. Like, I haven't seen Buried at all, but I would love to watch Buried just because it's someone in a box and they can't get out, although I'm claustrophobic so I'd be freaking out. Gravity is another perfect example, Life of Pi, all these movies where you have to survive. And yes, you could say that horror movies are survival movies, but I personally think horror movies are slightly less believable in certain aspects. And what I mean by that is that, for example, someone like Leatherface or Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or anyone like that, they could potentially exist as people. But people would know about them and people would steer clear of them, the police would be onto it and all that kind of stuff. However, in survival movies, there is a less chance you're gonna survive. This is what I mean by that, because in horror movies, all you really need to survive is just run fast and that's pretty much it. Survival movies, however, you literally need to survive. You need to find food, water, shelter, fire, that kind of stuff, clothes to keep you kind of warm. You need to find stuff. And in a deserted island, out at space, lost on a boat, in a freaking coffin, that's going to be difficult to do. Particularly the outer space one, bit like, for example, The Martian or something like that. It's a lot harder to survive certain places than it is others. Because I know in Life of Pi, for example, he lost water or something, or he lost something like that. And in my opinion, I feel the worst place you could get lost is in the ocean, because you're surrounded by water but you can't drink it because you'll get sick. So I feel like survivor movies are more terrifying than horror movies, just because A, this can actually happen to people, and B, they're gonna die in a lot more of a torturous, tragic way. From dehydration, starvation, sunburn, all this kind of stuff. They're gonna die in a lot more tragic, torturous way. Don't compare that to Hostel whatsoever though, but what I feel like survival movies at their best can terrify audiences, and I'd imagine CastAway probably did. And the fact that Tom Hanks got so in character where apparently he didn't eat to make him look like he was starving, but still had enough kind of flesh on him to make it was like he was eating. I felt all this kind of stuff was done really well. Just those little things that made you thoroughly believe he was trapped on this island for like 5 years. It's all these like little things that these survival movies do to make you really feel like this person could potentially die, and they probably will die if they don't do something. So it's not really on CastAway, but just more on survival movies as a whole, but you can apply that to CastAway. So, but then again, this is just my opinion. Art is subjective, so don't be too protective. Basspick out.